party begin. All right, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Food as Medicine, Essential Nutrients and Supplements for Vegans and Vegetarians, sponsored by the Black Veg Society and presented by TrueSelf Total Health. That would be me. Kudos for taking time to invest in you and your health and wellness. As always, my commitment to you is to provide you with a content-rich presentation in a format that's easy to understand and interactive. You know, I love the engagement. I also know how frustrating it can be to have really great information and not know how to implement it. So there will be tools and resources and Q&A, everything you need to give you a jump start to start implementing what you learn. And here's a few housekeeping issues, super important. We're going to answer questions at the end of the presentation because we want to keep a good flow because everybody won't be able to make this presentation live, and we want to make sure that when they look at the recording, it has a good flow. So you can post your questions in the chat as we go along, or you can ask to speak at the end by using the raised hand icon, and Jamie's going to help you by unmuting you so that you can speak. We ask that everyone remain muted to eliminate distractions during the presentation. And we also invite you to complete a very, very short survey at the end of the webinar. Everyone who completes the survey will also receive a free 1-year subscription to Vegetarian Journal and an African plate recipe book. If you stay to the end, gotta stay to the end, you'll receive a link for immediate access to a nutrient self-assessment chart that I think you're gonna find helpful, and a Do I Need to Supplement document that will also be helpful for you. Finally, everyone who registered, whether you attended or not, and you're just looking at the recording, everyone who registered will be eligible to participate in a raffle drawing to win a vegan starter kit. Everything you need to know about plant-based eating by Dr. Neil DeBernard, New York Times bestselling author. The winner is going to be notified via email, and we'll also list your name in the blog post too, so you get a little bit of notoriety. Hopefully you'll choose not to be anonymous, but if you do, let us know when we send you the email, and we will keep it that way. All right, moving right along. So food is medicine. You all know by now we've labeled these webinars Food is Medicine because we believe the beauty of food as medicine is that the choice to heal and promote health can begin as soon as the next meal. And just to remind you that food is either nourishing the body or it's breaking it down. What you eat either improves your health or depletes it. There is no neutral effect. So everything is a choice to support health or not support health. So we believe that real, whole, minimally processed food, not food-like substances, provides nutrients to support our mental and physical health. Now, nutrient insufficiencies and deficiencies are the root cause of disease, discomfort, or dissatisfaction about how you look and feel, and can impact the functioning of every system in your body. Nutrition, along with other lifestyle practices, will give you what conventional medicine simply cannot or will not, which is a way to get well, not just feel better. About me, I'm TONI CLAIR-FISH. I'm excited to be your host for this webinar. Joining me today is my beautiful co-host, Jamie. She's going to be helping us out today in case there's some technical difficulty, and communicating and participating in the community as well. Now, I'm a functional health coach. I am a nutritional endocrinology coach and educator, a personal and professional development coach, a raw food chef and instructor, and also a yoga instructor. I'm also the founding member, proud founding member, board member of the Black Veg Society. So a little bit about me. I've been the proud owner and CEO of TrueSelf Total Health for over 10 years, assisting and guiding people who have forgotten or maybe never learned how to stay healthy and balanced in their mind, bodies, and spirits. Now, among other things, I help people detoxify their bodies and minds, learn how to eat healthy foods, and improve their overall health and wellness. I'm also a behavioral change expert, so I help my clients bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be by guiding them in understanding and relying on their own innate strengths and wisdom to create meaningful goals, inspired action steps, and sustainable lifestyle practices. I'm also a functional health and wellness coach and healthcare team member for Capital Integrative Health here in Bethesda, Maryland, for those of you who are local. You may know about this organization, and I'm part of their care team. So my background, training, and education just means I'm qualified to do this presentation. So it's not meant to brag on myself. I'm meant to give you some comfort that I do have some experience and understanding in what I am sharing. All right, moving on. Disclaimer, super important. You need to know, I want you to take time to read that. And if you don't want to read it, and I understand because it's a lot of legal gobbledygook, but there are two things I want you to hear regarding this disclaimer. Number one, this presentation is meant to be educational only. It's meant to be a sharing of information based on my experience and training or the experience of experts I rely on. It's not intended as medical advice. So because I'm not treating, curing, diagnosing any condition or illness, the state of Maryland frowns on that since I'm not licensed to do that. So don't depend on me to do that in this presentation. If you have a condition that requires medical attention, please don't substitute this presentation for that. Okay, it's just meant to be educational only. If you're inspired to implement a change, no matter how small, and I hope you are, please share what you're doing with a licensed and qualified healthcare practitioner, especially if you're taking medications or you have a chronic condition. Okay, that's it for the disclaimer. We're going to move along to the meat of the program. Here's what you can expect to learn. Essential nutrients for vegetarians and vegans, signs and symptoms of essential nutrient deficiencies, primary causes of essential nutrient deficiencies, the highest plant-based food sources of essential nutrients, and key supplements that are required. And then how to assess your essential nutrient status so you can create your own unique food and supplement plan that's right for you, not your neighbor. All right, so here's what I want you to know when we're talking about essential nutrients. Both vegans and vegetarian diets are becoming more and more popular due to their health benefits. You probably already know that, that's why you're here. But there are many unique reasons someone might choose to adopt a vegan lifestyle, from preventing cruelty to animals, environmental consideration, or simply looking to improve health by losing weight or reducing the risk of chronic disease. Vegan and vegetarian diets can be healthy for anyone of any age, including children, pregnant and lactating women, and the elderly. Poorly constructed diets, however, might predispose individuals to certain nutrient deficiencies. So if you're following a vegan or vegetarian diet or thinking of doing so, and I hope you are, there's some must-have nutrients and supplements that you should factor in, and we'll be talking about that as we move along. So you can thrive on a plant-based diet. I promise you, you can, if you give your body the right nutrients. Everybody has a unique bio-individual chemistry. While there are nutrients many vegans and vegetarians need to thrive, anyone, no matter what diet they subscribe to, can have deficiencies if meals do not represent the full spectrum of nutrients needed to sustain health. Not just general nutrients, but also what's specific for your biochemistry. So I'm presenting nutrient imbalances that are most prevalent with a focus on vegans and vegetarians based on my research, the research of others that I rely on, and my understanding of those that I've supported in their vegan or vegetarian journey, and also my own plant-based journey for over 25 years. This is information I wish someone had told me early on, because everything I learned by, oops, that doesn't work for me. But you don't have to worry about that. Okay. All right, let's talk about B12. This is probably a subject that you all have heard about, B12. Let's talk about what it does. It improves heart health by decreasing homocysteine levels. It helps with red blood cell formation and anemia. Sorry about that. It supports maintenance of the central nervous system and brain health, energy production, and supports the production and repair of RNA and DNA. That's missing, and I will fix that. So vitamin B12 is a nutrient that helps keep your body's blood and nerve cells healthy and helps make DNA the genetic material in all of your cells. Vitamin B12 also helps prevent anemia, a blood condition that makes people tired or weak. B12 also improves heart health by decreasing the homocysteine levels that I said earlier. And homocysteine is basically an amino acid. So high levels in the blood can damage the lining of the artery. So B12 has an important role in energy production and keeping us healthy and well, and keeping our cells healthy and well. Let's talk about signs of deficiency. It's a long list, right? Tender tongue, geographic tongue, pale skin, shortness of breath, fatigue, dizziness, headache, cold hands and feet, heart palpitations, chest pain, nausea, vomiting, heartburn, abdominal gas, constipation, diarrhea, loss of appetite, weight loss without even trying, numbness and tingling in the hands and feet, unsteadiness, difficulty walking, confusion, depression, hallucination, memory loss, vertical ridges on the nails, and bloating. Whew. Now, those deficiencies could also be due to other things. But if you have a preponderance of this, not just one or two, you may have a vitamin B12 deficiency. But there are ways to figure that out through blood testing and all that. And we can talk about that on the other side at the end. So what happens if you don't get enough vitamin B12? Well, just give you a little chemistry lesson here. Your body stores 1,000 to 2,000 times as much vitamin B12 as you typically eat in a day. So the symptoms of B12 deficiency can take several years. It can take 5-6 years to appear. If you have a vitamin B12 deficiency, though, you may feel tired and weak, not just once in a while, but all the time. Again, these are symptoms of anemia, which is the hallmark. Anemia is the hallmark of B12 deficiency. You might also have pale skin, heart palpitations. I don't mean just once in a while, but all the time. Again, loss of appetite, weight loss, infertility, and all those other things that we have on the list. You might also have problems with balance, because it affects your nervous system, and depression and confusion and dementia, poor memory, right? In infants, signs of a B12 deficiency include their failure to thrive and delays in reaching typical developmental milestones. Vitamin B12 deficiency, I want you to remember, it damages the nervous system and it's permanent. It's permanent. So you want to make sure that you are clear on what your B12 status is. And we'll talk about that on the other side, how to do that from a clinical point of view. All right, we beat that to pieces. Let's talk about food sources of vitamin B12. So vitamin B12 is found only in animal foods. Microorganisms, and especially bacteria and fungus, are the only organisms definitively known to produce B12. So germophobia, I would have said that 3 years ago before we Rona hit, but we do have to wash our hands. But germophobia and triple washing of produce eliminates these organisms. And you'll notice that when you get produce, they say it's triple wash. If you trust the source and it comes from the dirt, just shake it off, you eat it, you're eating a little bit of B12. People that farm know that. And so they just shake that stuff and then shake the dirt off and they eat it. Nutritional yeast grown on molasses medium is also an example of a food-based quasi-supplement that could provide and does provide a vegan source of vitamin B12. And then we have crimini mushrooms, which are controversial, and I'll talk about that a little bit. So mushrooms are a uniquely controversial food with respect to B12 because scientists classify mushrooms in their own separate category of life form. They call it a fungus, and it can't be lumped together with other plants for some reason. I don't know why, but they say from a scientific perspective, they don't. So it's worth noting that crimini mushrooms are the only non-animal food that serves as a ranked source of B12 on the world's healthiest food site. They are the authority on these things. And they think that you have to eat a lot of it, but they think there's a sufficient amount of B12, active B12 in that. So here's the controversy over it. It's threefold. One, B12 is not always detected in mushrooms, including crimini mushrooms. When B12 is detected in mushrooms, it's usually found on the outermost portion of the mushrooms, suggesting that bacteria on the mushroom's surface may have produced the B12 rather than the mushrooms themselves. Either way, you get it. And the chemical structure of B12 found on some mushrooms, while based on ring structure characteristics of B12, can have important differences, and that provides us with the full vitamin benefit. So what they're basically saying is you can eat crimini mushrooms, but don't just rely on that because it's still very controversial. So don't rely on it as your primary source of B12, but know that if you're eating a little mushroom with some dirt on it, you're getting some B12. All right. Let's talk about the food sources of vitamin B12 from the Vegetarian Resource Guide. Now, I know a lot of my clients rely heavily on nutritional yeast. And for those of you who don't know what nutritional yeast is, it's basically, it has a cheesy, nutty flavor, and you can add it to recipes, and it kind of gives you that cheese, not cheese kind of taste. And it's B12 fortified, right? But did you know all products are not made equal? Some products that you may be familiar with don't have any actually active B12 in it, right? So if you look here at B12, it looks like Bob's Red Mill has a fair amount of the active B12. Bragg Premium does. Dr. Furman, none. KAL, I'm not familiar with that product. Now Foods has a fair amount. Red Star, that's one of the ones my clients use, and it has a fair amount. Sorry, none. And Thrive Market. So if you're going to depend on nutritional yeast, make sure it actually has B12 in it, not just tastes good. All right. All right. Moving right along. So how much vitamin B12 do you actually need? This is taken from the National Institutes for Dietary Supplements, their consumer facts page. And during certain stages of your life, they recommend a certain amount of nutrition daily. So it's an average daily amount. Now, this obviously is going to depend on a couple of things, your genetic makeup and your bio-individual chemistry. So if you're eating the recommended amount, but it's not being absorbed, then you have to do other things. But for adults, it's 2.4 micrograms recommended daily. All right, let's talk about B12 supplements. Let me give you a little pro tip here. There are supplements containing different types of B12, but the cyanocobalamin, yeah, that was easy to say, is recommended mainly because it's the most stable type. So you want the most stable type. You want the type that's going to be able to convert to the two active forms of B12, right? And cobalamin, that's I think that's kind of a mineral that makes it stable, what it connects to. But in any event, these are the two, you want to make sure that you have this active form of B12. So all in all, if you haven't heard anything yet, it might be best to take a B12 supplement. I very rarely say must, but in this case, I will. You want to look for a daily supplement that provides at least 10 micrograms, or take a weekly supplement providing at least 2,000 micrograms. That might seem like a lot of B12 in comparison to the daily recommended intake, but remember, only about 10 micrograms of the supplement is absorbed in healthy people. And so these recommendations are safe, and they help ensure that you are getting enough and that you won't do any nerve damage, brain damage, won't have dementia, and all that laundry list of stuff that can happen when you're B12 deficient. So a lot of people want to use, a label like vegetarian or vegan as a label, like I'm going to stand my ground and eat like my forefathers ate, and I'm not going to take a supplement. In this case, you'll be doing yourself great harm unless you live in a place where you're eating dirt, and people do. So you don't want to do a supplement, eat some dirt, just saying. All right, moving right along. So iron, what it does: oxygen transport and storage. It's required for growth, reproduction, healing, and immune function. So iron is a mineral that the body needs for growth and development. Your body uses iron to make hemoglobin, which is a protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body, and myoglobin, which is a protein that provides oxygen to the muscles. So it's for energy, it's for breathing, it's so you can use that energy to move. Your body also needs iron to make some hormones. So many of you may not know that, but it does. So let's look for some signs of deficiency. Another long list: anemia, obviously, brittle nails, confusion, constipation, depression, dizziness, fatigue, headaches, an inflamed tongue, mouth lesions, spooning nails, and pale blue nails. Again, that it could be other things going on, but if you have more than one or two or three of these, then you might want to look to see if you have an iron deficiency. So did you know that iron deficiency is the most common nutrient deficiency in the world? Yeah, it is. The main source of iron in a vegan diet is found in the non-heme form, which the body cannot absorb as well as the heme form found in animal products. Some foods can reduce iron absorption, which is the real problem. For example, commercial black teas contain substances that bind to iron, so it makes it less absorbed by the body. For this reason, the iron need for vegetarians, including those following a vegan diet, is 1.8 times non-vegetarians. So you have to get a little bit more in. All right, let's go for plant-based sources of iron. World's Healthiest Foods, that's my favorite site. I refer my clients to that because it's a nonprofit organization, so there's no advertisement, there's no slanting of information, it's based on pure science. they provide you with the foods that will provide you with the sources of iron that are good. And they rank it by excellent down to good. And you can, I stopped at very good because that's all the room my slide would take. But you can see there's spinach and Swiss chard and cumin and parsley and turmeric. And I mean, it's just prevalent in so many foods. And these are just the highest ranking. There's an extensive list. Like I said, if you want to go to that, and we have links on each of these slides, and we might give it to you at the end too, if you want it, to help you. So I always like to have a did you know. Some of you may know this as if you're of a certain age and you have an iron skillet, but did you know that cooking with cast iron pots and pans and avoiding tea or coffee with meals and combining iron-rich foods with vitamin C can help enhance absorption? Vitamin C and iron work together for absorption. And you can get vitamin C not just from citrus fruits and strawberries, but also sweet peppers and tomatoes and broccoli contain a fair amount of vitamin C. So to increase your absorption, I want to do that. All right, moving right along. So how much iron do you need? And again, the Institute for Health Dietary Supplements Consumer Facts says this is the average recommended daily amount. And it's going to vary again, depending on your genetics and individual chemistry. But I highlighted adult men, adult women, and adults 51 years and older. Obviously, as we get older, we may have a decrease for some nutrient, maybe an increase for nutrients. So that's another reason that most people don't thrive on a vegetarian diet, especially if they've been on for a while, because they're eating like they did when they were 10 or 18 or 21. And that just isn't going to work anymore. All right, let's talk about iron supplements. Pro tip. It's not recommended to take iron supplements without first speaking with your healthcare practitioner. Why? Because an unnecessary intake of iron supplements can do more harm than good. I'm going to say it again for those in the back that didn't hear. An unnecessary intake of iron supplements can do more harm than good. Excess iron can increase the risk for liver disease because it's processed in the liver. So it can overwhelm the liver. It can cause a heart attack, diabetes, and in some cases can lead to you recycling early. So let's not do that. Let's be careful with the supplementation. So again, iron can be harmful if you take too much. I'm going to keep scaring you because I really think it's important that you understand this. In healthy people, taking high doses of iron supplements, especially on an empty stomach, can cause upset stomach, constipation, nausea, abdominal pain, vomiting, fainting. High doses of iron can also decrease zinc because nutrients don't operate independently, right? They're cofactors and they all kind of work together in this big old harmony. And so if you take too much of something, it decreases something else because they work together. So it decreases your zinc absorption. Extremely high doses of iron in the hundreds of thousands of micrograms can cause organ failure, like the liver, coma, convulsions, and recycling early. So you want to make sure if you get any type of iron supplement that you want to childproof the package and keep it away from your kids, make sure there's no accidental poisoning. All right. And also just a note, some people have inherited a condition that causes toxic levels of iron to build up in their bodies. So without medical treatment, people with this hereditary condition can develop serious problems such as cirrhosis of the liver and heart disease. So again, let's be knowledgeable about this. Let's make sure that we, all of you, get help from a professional before you just go taking iron supplements willy-nilly. I was born genetically with a predisposition to not absorb iron the way other people do. But I've managed to thrive. But I too could overdo if I didn't pay attention and get blood tests periodically. All right, let's talk about iodine. Iodine supports immunity, supports natural detoxification, supports the thyroid function. That's really, in my mind, the most important function of iodine. It supports cellular metabolism, supports memory, energy, mood, and weight. It supports optimal hormonal function and supports breast tissue. Again, iodine is an essential element that's needed for physical and mental growth and development, and it plays a critical role in the thyroid function. Let's talk about signs of deficiency. Cretinism, fatigue, hypothyroidism, and weight gain. So cretinism, I decided to put the definition there because I know somebody's going to ask. It's a condition characterized by physical deformity and learning disabilities that's caused by congenital thyroid deficiency. This is something you were born with, you can't control. But here are some hallmark signs of an iodine deficiency: hypothyroidism, that was an underperforming thyroid gland. And remember, thyroid is the master organ in the body. It controls weight, mood, your internal temperature. It controls a lot. And so weight gain obviously would be one of those signs of deficiency if your thyroid isn't acting properly, not behaving, because you're not eating enough or you're not getting enough. Let's talk about plant-based foods high in iodine. So some of you may know sea vegetables, but you may not know potato with the peel, baked, has a high amount of iodine. Beans, and yes, strawberries. Strawberries, who knew? The World's Healthy Foods Organization knew, that's who. So sea vegetables like nori, dulse, kelp, arame, wakame, you all have probably eaten some of this. The most popular one I think is kelp and dulse. Fruit generally is not a good source of iodine, but there are a few fruits that contain iodine. According to the World Healthiest Food Organization, strawberries are among the few fruits that contain iodine, and you definitely can be added to the list, add that to the list of healthy foods. Low in calories, high in minerals. 6 to 7 strawberries a day cover 8% of your daily iodine intake. How amazing is that? So that was worth the price of admission right there. Eat your strawberries. All right, so how much iodine do you need? Again, I rely very heavily on the National Institutes for Health dietary supplements just to give us a baseline. But for adults, it's about 150 micrograms. And again, the disclaimer is this is the recommended average daily amount. It's going to vary depending on your genetics and bio-individual chemistry. I'm going to say that a lot. Let's talk about iodine supplements. Here's a pro tip. Where iodine needs cannot be met through food alone, a supplement that meets the recommended daily intake of 150 micrograms might be advisable. So I've already told you that I'm a big fan of supplementing for B12. I'm also a big fan of supplementing for iodine if you're not getting enough through food alone, because it's super duper duper important for the thyroid health, which is the master gland in the body. So you won't hear me say must often. But you can, if you plan properly, you can get your iodine needs met through your diet. But you got to make sure that you get that baseline. Okay. So iodine is available in dietary supplements, usually in the form of potassium iodide or sodium iodide. What I love is that many multivitamin mineral supplements contain iodine. What I really like about it is also contains selenium. So selenium balances iodine. So when you're doing a multivitamin, they have it factored so you don't get so much that, for some people, they can't take that overwhelm of iodine, especially if they have goiters and all that. So if you take it in with multivitamins, you'll make sure that you have a proper ratio of iodine and selenium. Okay, and also, I don't know if you've seen this, they have these kelp granules that you can sprinkle on food and all that. So there's really no reason not to get it that way through food, but just in case, you might be a little on the trifling side, not calling anybody out, get yourself a supplement. Okay, let's talk about zinc. Woo, zinc. Zinc is a cofactor in numerous enzymatic processes and actions. It's involved in wound healing. It's also involved in protein synthesis and supports immune function. Actually, zinc supports over 500 mechanisms in the body. I mean, so I didn't want to list all that, but these are the major ones. And you may know in the environment that we're living in that zinc also helps, super important for the immune system. So we need to make sure that we have enough. Always, 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 whether you're vegetarian or not, but this is an area where I find some vegetarians and vegans fall down. But that might be part of the major microcosm of society that we're just not getting enough. So let's talk about plant-based foods highest in zinc. Again, according to my favorite site, the world's healthiestfoods.org, are very good quality sources: spinach and asparagus and shiitake mushrooms and creamy mushrooms. And a good quality source are sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, cashews, quinoa, green peas, tofu, oats, beets, and greens. So something on here should tickle your taste buds, I hope. Now, here's what we need to know about zinc. Zinc absorption from some of these foods, particularly those that are highlighted, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, and green peas, can be limited due to their phytate content. So they have something on them that can inhibit digestion unless you soak them. You soak to release that phytate. And that's really to protect the nut or seed for rainy season. It's supposed to release that when it grows. So that helps with digestion if you soak your nuts and seeds overnight, or you consume fermented foods like tempeh and miso that help boost zinc absorption. I love fermented food. I love my house stinks. I love it. Okay, let's talk about zinc deficiency signs and symptoms. Acne, decreased sense of taste. You form scars easily, because remember, zinc is for wound healing. You have a history of Crohn's disease. You have an overconsumption of sweets or poor perception of sweet, because your taste buds may be, because you have a decreased sense of taste. So you have to eat more sweet to get that sweet. You might have rashes, slow wound healing, smelly feet. Yep, smelly feet. Tendencies towards infections, white spots on the nails, puffy gums, and cracked fingertips. If you've ever had a physical, here's the lab test that will show that you have low zinc. In addition to these symptoms that we're talking here, blood tests don't lie. And so if you have alkaline phosphate that's low, you generally have a zinc deficiency. I support my clients in understanding their blood tests from a health management point of view, not a disease management. So if anybody needs support with that, we'll talk about it on the other side. So again, zinc is an important nutrient that people need to stay healthy. It's found in cells throughout the body. Almost every cell in the body has a receptor for zinc. That's how important it is for fighting off bacteria and viruses, including Rona. The body also needs zinc to make proteins and DNA, the genetic material in all cells. And during pregnancy, infancy, and childhood, the body needs zinc to grow and develop properly. And again, zinc also helps wounds to heal and is important for proper senses of taste and smell. All right. So how much zinc do you need? What do I say all the time? The recommended average daily amount will vary depending on your genetics or bio-individual chemistry. Here's what the experts are saying. Adult men need 11 milligrams. Adult women need 8. All right. Let's do our pro tip on zinc supplements. So vegans and vegetarians that are concerned about their zinc intake may consider a supplement. Before taking zinc supplements, it's best to speak with your healthcare provider, because zinc can be harmful if too much is consumed, very much like iron, right? Mm-hmm. So zinc intake should not exceed 40 milligrams per day from food and supplements. Now, I will note this, many of my clients have digestive issues, especially the older we get, the less stomach acid we produce, and zinc really is chelated in the stomach. So I always recommend a liquid zinc because it has smaller particles and can be more easily absorbed. So if you're inclined to do a supplement, I want to make sure that it is liquid and ionic, meaning small particles, right? Okay. Now we're moving right along. Let's talk about the summary. Let's talk about the summary, what we just talked about. I named 4 what I consider to be essential nutrients based on my knowledge and training. You may have one of your own individually, and that's okay. We can talk about that, because there are about 4 more that we could have talked about. But these are the ones that I see that show up, and they may separate you from having a nice long life where you thrive. B12, iron, iodine, and zinc, and honorable mention, vitamin D. So if you all have been on these webinars with me, you know I mention vitamin D all the time, right? Because vitamin D is actually a pro-hormone. It has a receptor on every cell. So it's important for everything from growing your hair to making your eyeballs to making your toenails, right? It just does everything. And so many people of color, regardless of their diet, are deficient. The recommended levels are between 80 and 100 ideally. If you do not have a blood test that says that your levels are between 80 and 100, assume you don't. Get yourself a blood test. Many people will say 2,000 IUs a day is okay. Well, it depends on where your blood levels are. If you're in the single digits, and most of my clients have been, 2,000 IUs a day is like spitting on a forest fire. You need close to 10, 20,000 to stay healthy and safe and to make sure Rona don't get on you. Okay? All right. Let's move along. Let's talk about the primary causes of deficiencies. It could be the actual intake or consumption. It requires meal planning. Many of us, regardless of what diet we eat, we tend to eat the same 10 foods all the time, right? I tend to increase my spectrum of color of eating when I focus on colors. So if I do a rainbow diet, and I'll say, well, what colors did I eat today? That's how I make sure that I have the actual intake or consumption, and also because I know my body and its needs. But that's one, quick and dirty way to do it. Eating conventional versus organic plant foods. Conventional, in addition to being, grown in soil that doesn't have nutrients to support the plant, they also tend to be toxic because, pesticides and all that. So if you're putting more pesticides in your body than nutrients, it's not worth it to me. And you're also diminishing your opportunity to absorb, because toxins like that decrease your ability to absorb real food. Eating processed versus whole, minimally processed plants, food. I don't think a discussion has to be carried on much here. So you want to make sure that you eat something that is a plant, not made in the plant. All right, impaired digestion, which can decrease absorption of nutrients. Now, this is an area many of my clients that come to see me aren't even aware. When we do a digestion assessment, we look at their blood tests. They may have some impairment in their stomach, which won't allow them to break down proteins and minerals. They may have some impairment in their liver, which won't allow them to process iron. They may have some small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which will diminish their ability to really get those nutrients into the blood cells. So that's the area that I see most frequently as a primary cause of deficiencies. So it's not what you eat, it's what your body absorbs. Chronic health conditions like blood sugar or thyroid are going to require more nutrients to heal. And so, and they strip, like especially blood sugar strips B vitamins because, you need more energy, And medications obviously can deplete nutrients. I have this site that I go to when I work with my clients who are on medications. And so we look at the site, and this link tells us which medications deplete certain nutrients. And so we boost that up so that hopefully the medication will have a neutral effect on their nutritional status. And then of course, genetics. Yeah, you are what you are, but we don't have to turn the genetic switch on. There are ways to fool the genetics, and there are ways to get around it. But those are the primary causes of deficiencies. I'll say the bottom line, we're almost at the end here. A well-planned diet can meet all the nutrient needs of vegans and vegetarians. However, some nutrients might be harder to get enough of than others, such as the case with B12 and vitamin D, which I said early, and I said supplement. If nutrition needs cannot be met through diet alone, dietary supplements are always an option to explore. I always like to start with multivitamins because they are balanced. Right? If you have iron, it's going to have the right amount of C so that iron can be absorbed. If there's iodine, it's going to be selenium to balance that. So I always like high quality multivitamins. Let's see, what else do we have? It's best to speak with your healthcare provider or qualified practitioner before adding supplements to your diet if you know or suspect you are below therapeutic levels for optimal health, right? That's like guessing, let me see if this works. It's expensive and it's also frustrating, and you may be doing more harm than good. Let's talk about resources. So we have resources for you as promised and advertised. The Black Vegetarian Society, I have BVSMD, but we changed our name to Black Veg Society, is giving everyone who completes a survey, you're going to receive a free 1-year subscription to the Vegetarian Journal and an African plate recipe booklet. We really love to receive feedback, and we have modified this program because of feedback that we receive. So it's not just what we're doing well, certainly we'd like to hear that, but we also want to hear how else we can support you in your health journey and being a thriving plant-based consumer. So please take a few moments and give us some feedback. It doesn't take long, and then you will get that wonderful booklet. If you've already received it, and you've already given us feedback, thank you in advance. Nutrition self-assessment. Some of the slides showed signs and symptoms. This nutrition self-assessment has all of the nutrients that we just mentioned, all of the areas.
Nigga, you look ugly as shit, my nigga. You look like Bones off of Sonic, bitch ass nigga. Fuck is you talking about, my nigga? You look like Tails.
Can we cut her off?
Fuck you. You like Michael Jackson, bitch.
Can we cut him off? Okay, very good. We haven't had that kind of entertainment in a while, have we? Okay. So nutrient self-assessment, good. Again, free for showing up.
On that little dill pickle, I'm trying to eat your ass. I want to make your booty hole.
Can we boot him out? Is there a way we can boot these people out? Yeah. Or mute everybody. Yeah, we'll just keep doing it. You guys, I'm sorry, we haven't experienced this in a while. All right. Thanks, Jamie. And then the final one is, do you need to take a multivitamin supplement? Some of you may not. We have a free information sheet just for showing up, investing time in your health. All right, that was a lot. So Jamie's going to put the links in the chat for all these things that we just talked about. So let's all take a deep breath. There's a lot that just happened. There was a lot of information. We do our very best to avoid these people coming. We do have everybody's registration information. So I will report those people that did show up here and basically violated our community here. So it won't go unpunished. And next we have our upcoming webinar is Food is Medicine, the Skinny on Health, Healthy Vegan Fat. And that's next Saturday, September 25th. I hope you join us. Thanks for coming, save the date. And now we'll get to the Q&A. And Jamie, maybe if you could start reading some of them. I'm hesitant to let people talk at this point because of the violation we just had, but we will read the questions in the chat. Let's see.
Okay, yes. Go right back up to the top, and James Alexander asked, what role does EFA play in the vegan diet?
A great role. That is essential fatty acids. And that is also one of the essentials, but it's not one I've seen vegans and vegetarians having issues with. That's basically making sure that your omega-3 fatty acids are greater than the omega-6/9. Omega-3 fatty acids, or those essential fatty acids, are anti-inflammatory, where the omega-6/9s can be pro-inflammatory. So it's always best to balance. And James, if you want to know more about that, join us September 25th, where we'll be talking about the Skinny on Healthy Vegan Fats, and we'll be talking about essential fatty acids too. Good question. Thank you.
What other questions do we have? I just sent Simona a private message.
Okay, great. And we won't use names for people that send privately. We'll just answer the question as best we can without using your name. But if you
I got her covered.
Thank you.
I'll ask. You said you specifically mentioned vitamin D multiple times. I'm a big believer and a proponent of. Do you specify vitamin D3 as the preferred one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Vitamin D3, absolutely. Now, here's another hint about vitamin D3. Many people have taken copious amounts of vitamin D3, I'm talking about in the tens and 20s thousands, and couldn't get their vitamin D to go above 20. That just means you can't convert it in your gut. So you may need to combine vitamin D3 with K2 so it can convert, because that's where the conversion happens. So yes, it would be D3. That's a great question. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes, certainly. Any multivitamin products recommended specifically?
Yes, I am a big fan of multivitamins that are as close to food as possible, right? They're made from food. They're not heavily processed, because the body is hardwired for food. And if it's too processed, then it has to strip through all that to get to the good stuff. In that document, should I supplement? I have my favorite brand listed, which is Garden of Life. I like Garden of Life again because it's close to food. You can sprinkle it on your food. You can put it in a smoothie. It just seems to absorb better. That's what I've seen.
Excellent. Yeah. And let me just clarify. Do we include all the links in the blog post that gets emailed?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so all you have to do is go to the BVS website and subscribe, and you'll get that blog post, and it will include all the links.
Oh, wait, no, wait a minute. I just remembered. Some of them are only for people that are here. That's right.
Okay.
So
yes, the special bonus links.
Right. So we can post them again before we sign off. I invite you to, when you see it, to go ahead and click on it and save it somewhere.
Yeah, we've got some people listening via cell and they're just asking that. Okay. Are there any precautions going plant-based later in life, such as perimenopause?
No real precautions, because I think it would make menopause a lot easier. The only precaution I would have is to make sure you know what your nutrient status is for that age and stage in life, right? So so I like working with perimenopausal, premenopausal, and postmenopausal women, regardless of what you're eating, because that's a time where hormones are getting out of balance, and plant-based foods I found are the best way to balance those hormones quickly. Yeah.
Just along those lines, I'm right at that cusp, and I started doing what's called seed cycling, which is, then yeah, I just started doing that, and it's very helpful.
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, just an aside. Okay, how much D3 would you suggest to take daily? How many IUs?
Okay, it depends on your status. That's why I didn't want to tell you what to do. If you're at already at 50 to 100, you can get away with 2,000 IUs a day just for maintenance. That makes sense. Anything below that, I need to know what your status is, so that you can heavily and quickly get up to therapeutic level in about 6 weeks and then retest. That's what I would. So I'd have to know you as a client, and or direct you to taking a blood test, which I can help you with that. So you can reach out to me on my website, TrueSelf TotalHealth. There's a contact form, and we can have a conversation about it. So the short answer is depends on your status, how much you should take.
As with, like you said, as with all nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what age did you realize a vegan diet was the best option, and what was your aha moment?
Yeah, I would say 25. I was athletic, and I was looking for diets that would enhance my athletic performance. It was all ego driven at that time. And I had acne really bad, but I was coughing up mucus. When I decided to try this new thing called a vegan diet, I noticed immediately the aha moment was my face cleared up in a week. I stopped coughing up mucus, and I had 3 bowel movements a day. So that was my aha moment that, yeah, there's something about this vegetarian diet.
Yeah, it kept you moving. That's a good thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Okay. My iron level is low and red blood cells are low.
Yeah.
The doctor put me on iron 325 every other day, 325 milligrams. Does not eating red meat contribute to that?
There are many root causes of having low red blood cell count. It could be genetics. Like in my case, I have low iron, and that's because of genetics. I have a predisposition to not absorbing as much as the regular population. So that's one reason. It could also be that your liver is faulty and it's not processing the iron properly. I don't necessarily think it has to do with not eating meat, but we have to get to the root cause. And when I work with my clients, that's what we do, right? We look at all the ways that your iron could not be absorbed. Remember that list I came up with? Indigestion, medications can decrease certain absorption. So we go down the laundry list first. I'm not saying that I want people to stay healthy. And so if eating a little meat is going to help you stay healthy, that's fine. But your diet should be plant-centered, so that if you're having issues with organs that aren't working properly, that will diminish your reliance on meat. I hope that helped.
Yeah. Just as a share, Brenaya says that she employs researching vegan senior bodybuilders and says it's very inspiring.
She employs vegan bodybuilders?
Vegan senior bodybuilders. She's researching vegan senior bodybuilders.
Oh, wow.
She says it shows that our bodies are made for this. Oh, and she's got her hand up. I'm going to unmute her.
Oh, yeah, please.
Well, okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, yes, thank you first of all so much for this free event. It was only the devil that sat up there and played those nasty videos, but you know what? We are still standing and we are still here. So thank you so much, Miss Toni. This was so informational, and yeah, I wrote in the chat, just our bodies our bodies were made for the earth. And when you say something like, it's doing the work, it's doing the research, it is unlearning and relearning is what we have to do. This society, I can't even say the society or this country, because it's really the world, it's really a world problem right now. But they do not care about our health. They will not care about our health. They will lie to us. I'm talking about real lies. And this is just personal, people, like, this is my testimony, and I really be wanting to join PETA or something, because I've been misdiagnosed 3 times in my life by medical professionals, people that went to school for 10 some odd years. Yeah. And something that Dr. Sabi, rest in paradise, one of his herbal concoctions kept me from going back and forth. I look a mess right now, but I'm about to get on video in a second. I'm gonna unlook a whole mess in 1 second. But one of his herbal concoctions stopped me from going back and forth to the doctor for at least 5 to 6 years. So that's just my personal testimony. We just have to have more faith, and I'm not religious. And even if I wasn't spiritual, this is about the earth. We all, regardless of what we believe in, we have to believe in the earth. We have to believe that the grass and the air gives us air to breathe. That is epic. We have to believe in what is dear to us. And it is not, I'm sorry, y'all, because this is my testimony. I don't want this to, I don't want to make anyone feel like anything. This is my testimony, and my thoughts. But we have to start getting back to who we are as people, and what really was put here for us. And again, it's about faith. Whatever you believe in, if you believe in yourself enough to do the research and to put in the work to build your body, and to not, like I said, these are lies. It's so many. Yo, I gotta do it. Anthrax, bird flu, swine flu, Zika, Ebola. They will create and create and create and create in their labs. They will put things out to scare us. They're trying to scare us and keep us bound. So I'm going to literally stop talking now, because hold on, y'all can see me. I got my do-rag on, y'all. I don't even care. Hello.
Hi.
I'm gonna stop talking now, because I could talk forever. But I just really, I pray and I wish the best for everyone in this meeting, because that means you actually really you want better for yourself. You know that there are lies out here. You know that there is misinformation. So I'm grateful to share this space with you all, and I really wish you all the best. I have not eaten meat since January 31st, 2016. As you can see, I'm alive, I'm active. I'm not the healthiest vegan. That's why I'm here. I love French fries and ketchup and barbecue sauce. Like, I eat fries every day. I'm gonna stop eating fries every day though. But that's my comfort food. I've had there are a lot of different transitional foods that are not the healthiest, but like processed meats and stuff, but it has helped me transition. And in my time, I've seen that even that is a scam. Guys, please research what is in Impossible Meat and Beyond Meat. There is not one plant in these burgers. They're all extracts. Ain't no black bean, ain't no carrot, ain't no celery, ain't no nothing in those burgers. So anyway, I'm done.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You are, girl, you're going to get some really nice comments, I'm sure, in the chat. I can hear your passion, and I appreciate your passion. There was a lot to unpack, but here's what I want to leave people with that you just said. The system we work within, and I'm not demonizing it, is disease management. These doctors were taught to diagnose disease so they can cut it out or drug it out. Not all doctors are like that, but they're caught in a system where they can only meet with you 6 minutes a day or 6 minutes a visit. So it's up to you, in partnership with your doctor, if you want it to be a health management system, is to pay attention to your body. If you're gonna be in that system, make that 10 minutes work for you. Give them information so that they can help you with health management, and demand that you and only you are responsible for what you put in your mouth and in your body. Your body also gives you an understanding of what it needs. And we do these free Food as Medicine webinars so that you can begin to explore and experiment and discover for yourself what your individual body needs. You'll find also that as you eat more, you eat better, you do more things that are passionate. The reason that you were brought here on earth, you become more inspired and you inspire others. And I believe a happier person, one person at a time, will make a happier planet, and the wars and all that will go away. I'm done. So I can also preach a little bit. Thank you for that. Is it Bree? I'm going to pronounce your name correctly. Brenia?
Brenia.
Brenia, that's a beautiful name.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so much for your share, and continued
thank
good
you for
luck
letting
to
me
you.
share.
Of course. Anybody else want to?
We've got one more question so far.
Okay.
Is coffee okay to drink in moderation or every day?
It really depends on you and how your body responds to coffee. I would say no more than 1 cup of coffee a day because of the caffeine and the effect that it can have on the nervous system. If you're drinking it for energy, there are other drinks that you can get for energy. If you're drinking it because you like the taste, then do your 1 cup of coffee and be good with that, right? It's also highly acidic to the body, and you want a pH balance that's mostly alkaline. So if you're going to drink coffee, and it's dehydrating. So if you drink 1 cup of coffee, you got to drink 4 cups of water, because it's diuretic. So there, drink your coffee, just do other things to balance out the negative effects. I try not to demonize anything. If it's good for you, it's good to you, it's good for you, right? All right. Thank you for that question.
Does decaf count?
There's no such thing as decaffeinated coffee. That's what I hear. It's less caffeinated. So yes, it does. You can drink your less caffeinated coffee.
But you still have to drink your extra water.
Exactly. Exactly.
For sure, for sure. Are there any other questions out there? Anybody else that would like to share?
And if not, that's okay. If there are no other
Hello?
share. Oh yeah. Hey.
Hi. So I just heard your comment about decaffeinated coffee. There's no such a thing as decaffeinated coffee. Okay. Because I
Less
usually
caffeinated.
it's just less caffeinated. I understand.
They can't pull all the caffeine out. It's just not possible. Yeah.
Even if I'm doing an organic decaffeinated coffee, 1 cup with my oatmeal in the mornings and all of my other vegan supplements.
Oh, so I really want to give you permission to drink your decaffeinated coffee. I am not taking that from you. I am just saying the science says it's impossible to take it all out, but it does take a fair amount out. You do a lot right to support your body, and food should be enjoyable. If what you're eating is not harming your body and if you're doing more to promote your health, enjoy your food. Don't be a either or. Some of my clients just don't even enjoy food anymore because they're looking at everything like, oh my gosh, it has this and it has that in it. Your body is made to survive a lot, and it can survive a little decaf because you're eating good. Enjoy.
I do it. It's all little steps and it's all baby steps. And I've gone along throughout my vegan journey gradually throughout my life. And I think I know I stopped eating meats gradually at the age of 10 and just gradually throughout the years. So I'm now in my early 60s. Wow. And I'm always looking to clean up my body. And so that's been my quest, and that's very important. I do want to say that I was traveling, so I pulled over to the side of the road. So I'm coming to you through my phone, but I'm not been able. I want to make certain that I'm able to get the other items that you're offering, because this is all part of my journey for knowledge and health.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how we can do this. Let's see.
Because I did register via email as well, but when I pulled over to the side of the road, I couldn't go back, and I'm not as tech savvy as I could be or should be.
That's okay. Let's get everybody's name. If you're on the phone, we'll just document that and make sure that we send you that separately. Thank you so much for your interest.
And what is your name? Because it's just showing up as your phone number. If you don't mind.
Belinda? No, Belinda, Belinda.
Gotcha.
Last name is Ewing, Ewing.
Okay, great. Thanks, Belinda.
Thank you.
So we have a question about, if I'm understanding it, it's turmeric and elderberry and blood sugar, or blood pressure, not blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the comment is. It's not.
Yeah. So I'm very hesitant to give other than general information and advice regarding nutrients, herbs, and supplements, because a supplement and herbs are still medicine. So I'd have to know you as a person to see if that's appropriate for you. But I always say when you share, and I hope that you guys do share, please keep in mind that just because it works for this particular person doesn't mean it'll work for another person. I'm gonna give you a very good example of that. I worked with a client that was lowering her blood sugar, and she was doing everything right. I mean, and she was eating blueberries. I'm like, blueberries? Why? It can't be the blueberries. And then we just said one day, let's stop the blueberries. The blueberries was shooting her blood sugar up because she had sensitivities to it. You see, so everybody's body is different. So if somebody says this works for me, we have to figure out how it works in your body and what maybe you have some genetic predisposition where maybe it won't work on yours. So I like to get to know people as clients first before I make any kind of clarification.
I can speak to that exactly because I'm a borderline hypoglycemic, which is the low blood sugar. And if I eat a fruit, I have to balance it with the protein. Absolutely.
Very good.
Absolutely.
So glad that you noticed that. Yes. And one of my clients noticed too that if she ate fruit, she couldn't eat fruit before, and she did greens with it, it did the same thing. Right. So it's just a matter of slowing down that that absorption into your blood system until your body balances again. Thank you for sharing that.
Right. Yeah. So India is asking, are you always open for new clients?
I'm always open for clients where it's a good fit. So I like to give everybody a 15-minute consultation to see if we are a good fit. So I invite you to go to my website, and there's a little pop-up button with my face on it. It says contact me, and it'll say free discovery session. My calendar is pretty full. I have limited opportunities for that. So all I ask is if you do take a space, please show up because you're taking a space from someone else. Okay. All right. Thank you for your interest. I'm excited to meet you. Any other questions or comments? This is my favorite part.
Oh, we've got Bernia's hands up. Let's see. Well, there it is. Go ahead, Bernia.
Okay, sorry. Just one more thing, guys. If you don't have Netflix, I would get Netflix. Their documentary section, I don't know how they're doing and how they're spilling all this tea, but the tea is being spilled, okay? And one of the points that I got, our teeth, this is Googleable, this is researchable, this is not me. Our teeth, our bone structure, the structure of our mouths way back when were not made for meat. Our teeth were completely different in the way back ago days times. So that's all I want to say. Again, thank you so much, Miss Toni.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I'm so excited. I don't even know how I ran across this Eventbrite, but keep doing what you're doing. All the blessings, all the love. Thank you, Miss Jamie, for assisting today. And this is really, I am excited. Like, this topic gets me really, really, really excited
Bernia,
because it's who we are.
It is. Come to the other Food is Medicine. If you're not part of our community and not on our website, on our list, you won't know what we're doing unless you go to Black Veg Society. So please make sure you join the mailing list so you won't miss out on these wonderful webinars we're having. Also, when you do the survey, let us know what you're interested in, right?
Okay.
So we can, so we can make sure we remain relevant and to the needs of the community. And I do want to say this, Renee makes some really good points about how genetically we're made up, but culturally we've been supporting our health on meat. I want to say this very clearly. I'm sure she's not doing it and I'm not doing it either. I'm not demonizing anybody. Our theme for Black Veg is meeting you where you are. So if you eat a little meat because you're accustomed to doing that, but you're moving towards plant-centered, I'm good. Because eventually what will happen is your reliance on the meat may go away, or you might find that you're eating a smaller amount. And that's what I found with most of my clients, right? They were mineral deficient, not protein deficient. And when they started getting minerals, they just naturally lost their taste for animal products. Again, we are not demonizing anybody here. We meet you where you are. We appreciate the journey that you're on, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Okay. All right.
That actually explains something to me, because I went vegetarian many, many years ago and sustained it through sheer determination for about 18 months and got to the point that I craved meat so desperately that I gave it up. And that explains a good possibility for why.
Mineral deficiency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I've another question. I'm trying to eat healthy for the past 2 years, but the issue is I'm not at all consistent. How can you help me with this?
Baby steps are steps. So start out where you can, like you can hold out, like my grandmother used to say to me. Start out like you can hold out. So maybe you take one meal a day and say, for breakfast, I'm going to always eat a smoothie. One meal a day, and see what your body tells you from there. Baby steps are still steps. If your struggle is beyond that, you may need coaching, and I'm here to support you in coaching if that's what you need as well. But I always say, start out like you can hold out. You don't have to go into the deep end of the pool. Start the shallow end, you still get wet, right? Just saying.
Right.
Hope that was helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And Brenaya jumps in and says as well, she didn't stop eating everything at one time. It was a progression.
Yeah. It's the deprivation that kills people. And that's what happens when you go from everything to nothing.
Right.
It's a deprivation. So don't do that to yourself. It's more important to add. That's why I tell my philosophy for my clients is I'm more interested in what you're adding to your diet than what you're taking away.
Good point. We have a question. Is pescatarian a good start to vegetarian lifestyle?
It sure is. Wherever we meet you, wherever you are, whatever will keep you on the journey. That's a good question. So I tell people, I'm not interested, and this is no disrespect to anybody, I'm not interested in labels, because I think some people just, they lead with labels, and so they may have a tendency not to do other things. But if you're using that simply as a way to milestone where you are on your journey, I say start there. You can also start with full on eat meat 3 days, 3 meals a day. Wherever you start is a good start. But yes, I think that's been a really good starting point for most of my clients.
And for anyone who doesn't know, pescatarian is someone who eats seafood or fish in addition to everything else being vegetable or plant-based.
Absolutely. The only issue I have with, pescatarian is just make sure your source of animal is clean. Make sure the waters are clean, because if not, you're taking in a lot of toxins.
Yeah, mercury is a big one, and
it is.
Yeah, many others.
It's horrible for your body. And if it's factory farmed, they do factory farm fish, apparently. They're full of antibiotics, and we as women are hormone magnets. So you got all that stuff coming to us that lives in our fat cells. So just make sure it's clean. But
right. What are your views on soy products?
Not a big fan if you do too much of it. So I don't like to demonize food, but in this country, we end up doing way, way too much. That's the problem, is overdoing the soy, and it throws things off. The other issue is it's GMO. And so they that's one of the foods that has a lot of GMO, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm a bigger fan of getting your soy in a way that it is fermented, because it's easy for the body to digest. So that's my take on it.
That was going to be my question. Is something like a miso or a fermented soy better than a regular soy? Like, okay.
Absolutely.
Good question. And so we've got a maybe I'm eating too much salmon. And
what makes you say that?
Not me. This was
you.
A question.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this is a question. And I'm guessing because of the potential toxins in the water and toxins in the fish.
Just make sure it's clean. That's all I ask, because you can take something that's really good that you get in salmon and totally not get that, because you're taking in more toxicity than nutrients. Yeah. Not to demonize. I hope you all, the common theme is here, we're meeting you all where you are. Feel free to express where you are. Feel free to share what you're eating. If you're eating bear, we're okay with that. We're here to support you in eating more plants.
Bears eat lots of plants.
Hello. Hello. Don't they though?
That's good for now.
So you get it directly from the ground instead of through the animal. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Brenaya.
Just one more thing, maybe, hopefully. I just wanted to say, guys, don't feel bad. Like I said in the chat, I didn't stop eating everything at one time. I did stop eating meat all at once, but it was cheese for me. it was the cheese for me. But they do have non-dairy cheese. They have non-dairy butter. There are so many options. Also, because I changed my eating, I had to start cooking more, right? So we can make our own cheese.
Yes.
Like everything. And then when I started researching, I'm like, wow, like, because they have to make it too. Like they have to be somewhere and create these things so I can create it as well. So it's so many things that we can create in our own, and don't feel bad for anything that you do. You guys, this is the start for you. This session is an amazing start. So you're going to get exactly where you want to go, and you're going to reach your goals, your eating goals. But be kind to yourself and be patient with yourself. But you're going to get there. I'm so proud of all of you. And thanks to you again, Miss Toni. I'm going to try to not say nothing else, y'all.
No, that's okay. You're such an inspiration. And yeah, I didn't pay her for real.
She did. What you mean? She didn't pay me to look like this.
So I appreciate you.
I'm in my
sharing
robe right
that.
now. Like, she did not pay me to look like this.
That's a beautiful robe. I'll just say that.
Thank you. My grandmother gave it to me.
Those
Oh,
are
very
all my
nice.
colors.
Lovely. And Benaya makes a very good point that you can make your own food. And just so you know, Black Fish Society has, well, I'm a raw food chef and a plant-based nutrition trained chef, but we also have another chef, Crystal, every Friday. She's showing y'all how to make some good food. And I bet you that if you send her a note and saying, hey, can you show us how to make some plant-based yogurt or plant-based cheeses? She will help you out with that. But things have changed since I started 25, 30 years ago. These exotic foods, these replacement foods were just not there. So how fortunate for us that we have that option now. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jane suggested, in regards to baby steps and going vegetarian, try making homemade mixed vegetable soup. It's a great place to start.
I love that idea, James. You know why? Because vegetable soup is just full of nutrients too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that was courtesy Jane. And then James has jumped in and said he wants to mention the book CLAIR-FISH, How Eating Fish Endangers Your Health.
Thank you. Appreciate that, James. It's all about information. It's all about knowledge. The more you know, the better you can determine what works for you and doesn't work for you, right? But if you don't know, you don't know. I do want you all to know that you have more control over your health than you think you do. You don't have to rely on the disease management system. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Western medicine. If I break my arm, I'm going to see a Western medicine, Western trained doctor. But if I'm trying to get to the root cause of what's making me unhealthy, I'm going to see a integrative functional medicine doctor like the one I work with, who will get to the root cause.
It makes all the difference.
It does.
Yeah.
So let's not demonize the system. Sometimes you need those good diagnostics. Then you bring them to me and we create a plan.
I worked with a lady for several years, and we always said we always try to go through the door, but we're grateful for the window when we need it.
Yes.
And implying that, we want to do things the natural, healthy way, but if we need the doctor, because I broke my arm, I'm going to go to the doctor and get my arm set. And we need, like you're saying, the diagnostics. Sometimes we need that. We need, there's a reason for doctors, regular MDs, and we need them, and they're important too.
Absolutely. And if your doctor's not working for you, you can make the doctor work for you. But the more information you have, and I'm just going to give a short aside here. I support my clients in, if they're not ready to fire their doctors, and I'm not saying that they should, we go through an assessment. Let's assess your digestive system, your blood sugar. Let's find out what area you probably have issues with, and then tell your doctor, this is the area I want you to look at. Or I can help educate you on the blood test. I don't treat, diagnose, or cure. In case the state of Maryland is on here, I'm too pretty to go to jail. I don't treat, diagnose, or cure anything, but I help you to look at your blood test from a health management, not disease management perspective, so you can see what you need to do to make changes to maintain or achieve health. So it's all about information, education, and what's going on in your own body so that you can help the system that fails most of us actually work for you. All right, that was my little commercial for that. We've got about 2 minutes left because I like to honor your time. We did start on time and I want to end on time. I believe we got all the questions answered.
We have. I'm going to post the links one more time.
Awesome.
So they're right here at the end of the chat.
Thank you,
the first one is the survey.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you.
Right. So complete that survey, and you'll get the African plate recipe booklet and vegetarian journal subscription. And then here is, do I need to take a multivitamin supplement? So that's a good survey to do for yourself. And the nutrient self-assessment chart here. And those are the bonuses for everybody who stuck around to the end today. Thank you for staying with us.
Yes.
And yeah, we can leave the call open for just an extra couple minutes, Tony, so that they can go through and click the links and open them up.
Yes.
And then you can save them right to your browser, in your bookmarks on your browser.
Yeah. We want to make sure that you know that we value your presence here, and that's why we wait till the end and we don't share with the public at large, because then it kind of waters down the specialness of it. So thank you for downloading all that goodness. And I would just invite you all to do one thing. I'm a coach and behavioral change expert. I would just ask you to just ask yourself, what one thing, what takeaway that I get from this that will inspire me to take an action, no matter how small. And just, let us just, you don't have to tell us that, but just ask yourself, what's the smallest, most impactful thing I can do with my health so that this investment of time pays off for me? And I think area code 17, yeah, that's the one. Okay. Well, it's, I'm going to hang on for one more minute. But thank you all so much for coming. Jamie, thank you so much for your help in being a part of our community. Welcome. Bernaya, thank you so much for your share. I really appreciate it. I can hear your passion and your compassion for everybody. Everyone else who shared their journey with us, thank you. You are so, so valued in our community. If you are so inspired to come next month to our next webinar, feel free to bring other people with you if you think it's valuable, because we just like to grow this community as wide as we can. So thank you.
And one last real quick question for anyone that joined late, is there a place that they can go and see the recording of this call?
Yes. So the blog post always has the link to the recording, and I believe on the Black Veg site, and this is where I plead ignorance, they may have all the YouTube videos that I've done, every last single one, like 6, 7, 8 of them. So you might want to take a look at those too.
There you go. So if you haven't already, go back to the Black Veg Society site and sign up there for the emails, and that's where you'll get the blog post when it comes out.
Yep. Or and scroll for YouTube on our YouTube channel. Again, I plead ignorance. I'm just a talent. I don't know. You can always ask questions in the that's okay. You can.
Sorry
always,
about that. I was
right.
trying to mute somebody else.
That's all right. Fast fingers. Yeah. So if you have a question that I can't answer because I'm only the talent, please make sure you reach out to Black Veg, and someone will contact you and respond. It might be Jamie. Don't know yet, but you'll get the answers that you need. I honor you all. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to do what I love. And thank you all so much for spending time with us today. And if everybody has what they need, Jamie and I are going to sign off. Y'all good?
I think so. Let me get the survey link one more time.
Okay.
And I will access your information via my response to you. This again is Belinda. I'm the one that's on the phone.
Mm-hmm. So what I just want to make sure that I want to make sure we.
Belinda, I have your name, so
Okay,
I can go in and shoot you a quick email.
Great.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me along my journey. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh,
You're very welcome.
All right, folks. I'm out.
All right, and Simona, I have you as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Adios, people.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Have a great Saturday.